everybody. Okay, before I start, I want to make a couple of comments here. Last week, there were about 4 of us who were still here, and someone walked in that back door back here because it was open. And I've always wanted the door to be closed after services for security reasons, so please, if you go out that door, do not leave it open, because people can walk in. The guy, he just walked in, and he was soliciting. And we do not need that. And I made an announcement a couple of weeks back about spillage and other things that could damage the place. And I wish I would have made the announcement at the time. The children can't hear this, but we don't want them on the stage. You know, our screen has been ruined, and we're in the process of trying to get it fixed. Now, we don't know who did that. We don't know whether it was someone here or somebody else, because when we left that day, the screen was up, and now it's pulled down, and it has to be put back on the road. And one of the good things I'd like to say is that it's so nice to have Marion back.
Yes.
And we thank God for her strength and ask Him to continue to bless her.
Yes.
Okay? Now, I welcome her back. And someone has asked me about myself, and things have been said about health and so on. I had the biopsy Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, whenever the 15th was. And on the 27th, I go back, and I guess I'll get a full report on everything. But in the meantime, there was, according to the doctor, a possibility that there is some cancer in the pelvic area. And he doesn't know. It's just that he said there is a spot there, and he said that it's a slim possibility it could be arthritis. But I do not feel sick. I do not feel hurt. I get tired, but I don't attribute it to that. So I ask that you continue to pray for me.
Yes.
Because my testimony of the devotional has to do with the storms of life. And that's one of the storms that I'm facing right now, and I know that all of you are in some way. Mark 4:37 through 39, a furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat. And this was when Jesus was with his disciples, and they were on one side of the lake, and they were heading for the other side, so that it was nearly swamped. The boat was almost swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. And the disciples woke up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" And he got up and rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. So God has the power to calm and to strengthen and to rebuke those forces. Jesus knew that storm was coming, and it was actually part of his curriculum for the disciples that day. It would help the disciples to understand and to know something that they needed to learn. And that fact is that Jesus can be trusted in the storms of life. And so that's what we have to do. There were at least 3 good reasons why the disciples could not should not have been disturbed because of that storm, even though the situation appeared to be critical and life-threatening. And I'll give you the answer to that a little further down, what happened. So right now, I just want to encourage you to weather the storms that come into your life with faith, relying on God, because that's the source of our strength. Some of the storms of life come up suddenly, and they could be a sorrow or a bitter disappointment, a crushing defeat, and some of them come up in a very slow way. They seemingly are nothing, and they just sort of grow and grow and grow, and suddenly they're big and overwhelming to us. Yet it is in the storms that God equips us to do service and to be strengthened. He strengthens us through the storms that we go through. He tests us and he builds our faith and our endurance because we need to be strengthened. You know, when God wants to build an oak tree, He plants it out on the plains where the wind blows and the rain comes and all of the pressures come on that tree, and it grows and it stands and it strengthens. And it comes out to be a real good, strong oak tree. And in the same way, when he wants to make a man or a woman, he does the same thing. He puts the man or the woman into some type of storm. And no man or no woman is made until he or she can be, has been out into the surge of the storm and found the sublime fulfillment of a prayer. And that prayer would be something like this. Oh God, take me, break me, and make me. So we're broken down and put together in a way that's strong and strengthened. God takes our weaknesses out of us and he strengthens us. Yes. And so whatever storm you have been weathering and whatever storms you are now weathering, just be strong and rely on God. Have you been in a storm and swept by the blast and have it left you broken and hurting and painful? Oh, yeah. If you've done that, don't be discouraged. Do not be discouraged. God is there to help you and to strengthen you. Have these things left you with more simply with the storm swept and the battle weary people around you? Not only members here at the church, but family members, neighbors, people whom you love and care about. If so, that's good. So I ask you a question. Why shouldn't the disciples have been fearful? And this is the answer to that question that I asked you a few minutes ago. Why should we be fearful when the storms of life appear to threaten us? There were actually 3 good reasons the disciples should not have been fearful. And these same reasons apply to us. And the first one is that they had Jesus' promise that they were going to get to the other side of the lake. So he told them they were going to get there. So he was going to take them. So they should not have been worried. His commands are always his enablement, and nothing can hinder the purpose and the plan of God. He did not promise an easy trip to the disciples, and he doesn't promise an easy trip to us. But he did promise a guaranteed arrival at that destination. And we have the promises that we're going to get to our destination too. And the second reason, the Lord himself was with them, so what was there to fear? He was right there. And he was going to take care of it because he had that power. And the third reason is they could see that Jesus was perfectly at peace. He wasn't shook up and worried or afraid. He was at peace because he had control. And we need to remember that he has control and that we can rely on him. Whatever storm you're caught up in, remember, our faith must always be tested. And that is one reason God allows us to have the trials that we have, the storms that come to us. And we need to be able to remember that and understand that. So take heart and be strong. In Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, God said to Joshua when Moses had died, he was taken into the land of the promise. He says, have not I commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go, and whatever storm you may be caught up in. So he's saying the same thing to us. So remember this. Jesus can be trusted in the storms